Never underestimate a woman with no friends. That's a costly lesson I learned in my own 60s. When an older woman chooses solitude or a tiny circle of trusted friends, it's not loneliness, it's wisdom. She's cut away the noise of fake friends and shallow approval and built a life of calm and confidence. Her joy doesn't depend on numbers, but on the quality of her connections. This kind of woman values loyalty, uplifts others, and refuses to be drained. And that's what makes her unshakable. Don't underestimate a woman of this kind. Hi, it's Vernon again. Today, I want to challenge everything you've been told about friendship and social circles, especially for women empowerment after 60. I'll share 5 profound truths about women with no friends and reveal why they possess a kind of power that most people will never understand or achieve. Before we dive into this eye-opening conversation, would you hit that like button if you've ever felt the quiet strength of solitude? And subscribe to this channel for more elderly wisdom about self-love, emotional resilience, and living authentically in your golden years. Because what we're about to explore might completely shift how you see independence and personal growth after 60. So, what exactly makes a woman with few friends so powerful? It starts with the way she approaches relationships themselves. She chooses quality over quantity. The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle once observed that friendship is a single soul dwelling in 2 bodies. He understood what many of us forget in our social media age. True connection isn't measured by the number of contacts in your phone, but by the depth of understanding shared between souls. A woman with no friends or just 1 or 2 carefully chosen companions has learned this wisdom through experience. She's discovered that 5 acquaintances who only call when they need something are far less valuable than 1 person who truly knows and accepts her authentic self. This isn't antisocial behavior, it's emotional intelligence in action. Think about your own relationships for a moment. How many people in your life would you trust with your deepest fears? How many would celebrate your successes without a hint of jealousy? How many would show up at 2 a.m. if you really needed them? The honest answers to these questions reveal the difference between a large social circle and genuine personal development. After 60, we've had enough life experience to recognize the patterns. We've seen fair-weather friends disappear during difficult times. We've watched social groups turn toxic when personalities clash. We felt the exhaustion of maintaining relationships that require us to be someone we're not. Strength in solitude often emerges from these hard-earned lessons. A woman who chooses quality over quantity isn't missing out. She's making space for what truly matters. She'd rather have meaningful conversations with 1 trusted friend than superficial small talk with a dozen acquaintances. Do you prefer having many friends or just a few quality relationships? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might help someone else understand the beauty of authentic connection. Numbers don't tell the whole story. The real difference lies in the kind of energy your relationships add to your days. 2. She values peace over drama. Every relationship requires emotional energy, and women empowerment after 60 includes the wisdom to recognize when that energy exchange is no longer balanced or healthy. A woman with few or no friends has learned to prioritize her mental health over social obligations that drain her spirit. I think about my friend Sarah. someone I've known since our working days together. For years, Sarah maintained membership in a book club that had slowly evolved into a gossip circle. Instead of discussing literature, the meetings became sessions for dissecting other members' personal lives, complaining about family situations, and engaging in subtle competitions about who had it worse or better. Sarah realized that she was leaving these gatherings feeling depleted rather than inspired. The emotional healing she needed in her retirement years wasn't happening in spaces filled with negativity and judgment. So she made a choice that surprised everyone. She politely withdrew from the group and began reading alone or with just one other friend who shared her love of meaningful literature. The transformation was remarkable. Sarah's stress levels decreased, her joy in reading returned, and she found herself more present and positive in all areas of her life. She had chosen peace over drama, and in doing so, discovered a form of thriving alone after 60 that many people never experience. Dramatic relationships, those filled with constant conflict, gossip, or emotional volatility, are particularly draining after 60. We no longer have the patience or energy for friends who create chaos, demand constant validation, or turn every conversation into a competition. Personal growth sometimes requires letting go of relationships that keep us stuck in patterns of stress and negativity. From that peace emerges something even stronger, an inner confidence that can't be shaken. 3. Her confidence comes from within. Perhaps the most powerful truth about a woman with no friends is that her self-love and confidence don't depend on external validation. She's learned what psychologists call internal locus control, the understanding that her worth, happiness, and sense of self come from within, not from how others perceive or treat her. This kind of inner strength is rare and powerful. Most people, consciously or unconsciously, adjust their behavior, opinions, and even their personalities based on social feedback. They need the approval of friends to feel good about their choices. They require constant reassurance that they're liked, included, and accepted. But a woman who's comfortable alone has broken free from this external dependency. She knows her values and lives by them, regardless of who's watching. She makes decisions based on what's right for her, not what will earn approval from a social group. She's developed what the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu described as the highest type of ruling, self-mastery. I want you to save this video and return to it whenever you find yourself seeking approval from others. Because this kind of confidence after 60 is a superpower that can transform every aspect of your life. This doesn't mean she's cold or uncaring toward others. Quite the opposite. When your confidence comes from within, you're more generous, more authentic, and more capable of genuine connection. You don't need others to fill emotional gaps, so you can appreciate them for who they are, rather than what they provide for you. Emotional resilience of this caliber takes time to develop. It often emerges from periods of solitude where you're forced to confront and accept all aspects of yourself, the beautiful and the flawed, the strong and the vulnerable. When you can sit with yourself in complete honesty and still choose self-love, you've achieved something remarkable. And from inner confidence comes one of her greatest strengths. 4. She protects her energy. Energy is the most precious resource we have, especially after 60. A woman with no friends, or very few, has learned to be fiercely protective of her emotional, mental, and physical energy. She understands that personal development requires investing time and attention in activities, relationships, and pursuits that genuinely nurture her growth. The ancient wisdom tradition of Buddhism teaches that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This principle applies powerfully to how we manage our social energy. When you're not constantly managing multiple friendships, attending social obligations, or navigating group dynamics, you free up enormous amounts of mental and emotional bandwidth. Consider how much energy goes into maintaining a large social circle. Remembering birthdays and anniversaries, attending gatherings you don't enjoy, managing personality conflicts, keeping up with everyone's news and drama, and constantly negotiating social expectations. For many women after 60, this energy drain prevents them from pursuing self-discovery, creative interests, or deeper spiritual practices. A woman who protects her energy might choose to spend her evenings reading philosophy instead of attending cocktail parties. She might prefer solo travel, where she can move at her own pace and follow her own interests. She might invest in mindset shift practices like meditation, journaling, or nature walks rather than coffee dates filled with gossip and complaints. This isn't selfishness, it's self-worth in action. She recognizes that her time and energy are finite, especially in her later years, and she chooses to invest them in ways that promote genuine emotional healing and growth. Please share this video with someone who might need to hear about the power of protecting their energy. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is help others recognize when they're giving too much of themselves away. And when you protect your energy, you create something even more powerful. 5. Her small circle is built on loyalty. When a woman with no friends does choose to maintain relationships, those connections are typically characterized by extraordinary depth, loyalty, and mutual respect. She doesn't collect friends like trophies. She cultivates relationships like rare gardens, with patience, attention, and deep care. My dear friend Elena, who made a profound decision in her late 50s. Elena had always been socially active, maintaining friendships with dozens of people from different phases of her life. But as she approached 60, she realized that most of these relationships had become hollow, pleasant but superficial, requiring energy but providing little genuine connection. Elena made the bold choice to let most of these friendships naturally fade, while investing deeply in just 2 people: her college roommate, Maria, and her neighbor, Catherine. Instead of spreading her social energy across many relationships, she focused on creating bonds of extraordinary trust and intimacy with these 2 women. The result was transformative. Elena found herself in friendships where she could be completely authentic, where problems could be discussed honestly, and where loyalty was never questioned. When Elena faced a health scare last year, both Maria and Catherine showed up not just with words of support, but with practical help, emotional presence, and unwavering commitment. Thriving alone after 60 sometimes means choosing fewer people, but loving them more deeply. As the Persian poet Rumi wrote centuries ago, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray." This wisdom applies to friendships as much as any other area of life. These carefully chosen relationships become sanctuaries of trust in a world that often feels superficial. They're built on shared values, mutual respect, and the kind emotional resilience that can weather any storm. Quality friendships like these don't require constant maintenance or navigation of drama. They exist in a space of natural ease and deep understanding. Because, in the end, she doesn't need a crowd to validate her worth. She only needs truth, peace, and authentic love. And when you look at all these truths together, a bigger picture emerges. If you've followed me this far, you already see the deeper truth. A woman with no friends isn't lacking. She's rich in peace, confidence, and loyalty. Her power comes not from numbers, but from the quality of the life she's built. A woman with no friends, or just a carefully chosen few, is not empty, lonely, or lacking. She's full of self-love, wisdom, inner strength, and the kind of emotional resilience that most people spend their entire lives trying to achieve. She's made choices that prioritize mental health and authentic personal growth over social expectations and external approval. Strength in solitude is not about isolation or bitterness. It's about knowing yourself so completely that you don't need others to tell you who you are. It's about being so comfortable with your own company that you can offer genuine connection to others without desperation or neediness. It's about having the courage to walk away from relationships that diminish your spirit and the wisdom to cherish the ones that nurture your soul. Never underestimate a woman who can stand alone with grace and confidence. She knows her worth, trusts her judgment, and has learned that thriving alone after 60 is not just possible, it can be profoundly fulfilling. Are you someone who values a large social circle, or have you found power in solitude? I genuinely want to hear your perspective in the comments below. Your insights about motivation after 60 and self-discovery might be exactly what another woman needs to embrace her own path to fulfillment. And if this conversation has opened your mind to new possibilities about friendship, independence, and confidence after 60, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I have so many more videos about elderly wisdom, emotional healing, and discovering the profound strength that comes with authentic self-love in your golden years. Your most powerful chapter might be the one when you finally choose yourself. I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching till now. See you in the next video.